Hello and welcome to another how-to Django tutorial. My name's Tom with MasterCode Online, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to build a unique slug generator. And what this unique slug generator is going to do is it's going to take our model that I created here. So if you guys want to pause the video and copy this, you can. Otherwise you can use any model you want. Anyhow, as long as it's got a slug and a title. Alright, so here we go. So what it's going to do is take the title. It's going to make a slug version out of the title using Slugify, and it's going to go ahead and check if that slug exists in the database. If it does exist in the database, it's going to go ahead and make that slug unique by taking the model's primary key and appending it on the end of that slug. All right, so that's how we make it unique. All right, so let's get started. So since we probably want to use this on multiple models in our Django project, we're going to go ahead and create this in a separate file. If this was just going to be on one model, then you could probably just create a pre-save function down here, or a pre-save signal I should say, and go ahead and just do it in this model here. But since I probably want to use this on numerous models throughout my project, I'm going to want to go ahead and create that somewhere else. So let's go ahead and do that. So if it sounds like I'm tailing off, this is tutorial number 4 for me today, and I am starting to drag. Oh yeah, I already created utils.py because I had to redo this tutorial. So let's go ahead and go. First thing we're going to need is the Slugify function. What the Slugify function does is takes the white space on the right and left, removes it, takes a white space in the middle of the title, and is going to add hyphens to that, lowercase the title, and remove any special characters out of it that URLs do not like. So we're going to say from Django.utils.text import Slugify. All right, so we're going to create a function down here, and we're going to call it define unique slug underscore generator, like that. It's going to take 3 parameters: model instance, title, and slug field. All right, and then we'll add some information to our function, but we're going to pass that for now. If you want to see how I do that, go to mastercode.online, check out our code files, and you'll see what I do here. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is create a variable that will reference a slugified version of our title. So we'll do slug is equal to slugify, and then throw a title in there. Alright, the title parameter. And the next thing we want to do is get the model class, or create a variable called model class. That's going to reference the model instance dot underscore class, and what this special attribute does is returns the class version, the name, yeah, like I said, it's a long day, the name of our class. All right, and then we're going to use a while loop, and while we're using that while loop, we're going to go ahead and check if the slug exists. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to say model class, so we're getting this variable that's pointing to the name of the model that we are calling this on, and then we're going to say default manager, which in a second I'll explain to you what that is, filter, and then we're going to say slug is equal to slug, and then we're going to say exist, like that, and there we go. All right, so what we're doing here is getting the model class name up here, like I explained before, default manager, which is going to be objects, and then filter slug exists. So basically what this looks like is tutorial, because that's the name of our models, right, that we're calling this on, then objects, and then filter, and then slug is equal to slug, and then whoops, exist. So there you go. That's what that query would look like. All right. All right, so if the while loop finds that slug that exists, we need to do a couple things. All right, first thing's going to be is objects. We're going to create a variable to hold the last object that we created. So object underscore primary key is going to reference, I should say, not hold, model class, and then we're going to default manager again, and then we're going to do latest, and then we're going to say primary key. So we're going to get the last primary key. Then we're going to say object pk again is equal to object pk.pk, or underscore pk.pk, tongue twister, plus 1. So basically what we're doing here, this returns the object up here, all right, even though we want the latest primary key, it returns the full object, everything included, with all its attributes. So down here we want to get the object primary key, the last primary key. So we'll call the object up here, we'll get that object, and then we're going to get that object's primary key, and then we're going to increment it by 1. Because this is getting the latest one, and we call this generator before we actually save our next object, so we're just going to increment it by 1, and we're going to get the correct primary key, unless someone saves the object beforehand. In that case, if you got multiple people working, could run into an issue. But if that's the case, then let me know, and I'll show you a different way to do it. But anyway, let's go. So we're going to go ahead and call slug, and we're going to go ahead and format this one. So we're going to use an F string. It's new in Python 3.6, I believe. And we're going to go ahead and say slug, and then hyphen, and then object underscore primary key, and then close out those brackets. There we go. All right, and then we're going to come down and return slug. There we go. So basically what's happening here, let's just review real quick. All right, so we're coming down, passing model instance title and slug field. Then we're going to do, we're going to create a variable called slug that's going to reference a slugify version of title. Then we're creating a variable model class is going to reference a model instance of the class special attribute class, which returns the model instance's class name. Then we're going to run a while loop, and this model class default manager, which is objects dot filter, is going to go ahead and search for that slug. If that slug exists, it's going to return true, and this will run. If it doesn't exist, this slug is going to come down here and go ahead and be passed through. So if it does exist, the object underscore primary key equal to model class dot default manager, basically the same thing we did up here. We get the latest primary key, and this returns the full object. Remember that, returns full object. And then we're going to get the object is equal to, and then the object underscore primary key dot primary key is going to return the primary key, and then we're going to increment it by 1. So now this is object primary key is going to be whatever's incremented by 1. So say our primary key was 2 here, it's going to be 3. Then we're going to come down here, we're going to create a new variable to represent our new F string, which is going to be our slug. From up here, hyphen version with our new object primary key of 3. So it's going to be our slug hyphen 3, and then we're going to return that here. All good right now in the hood. So let's go ahead and since we need to now save this to the database, we got to go to models, and we're going to come in here and we're going to go ahead and first bring in from Django.db.models.signals. No more dots, and then pre-save. All right, I just like saying dots there for a second. So from, and then we want to bring in our unique slug generator. So we're going to bring in from mines and tutorials .utils import unique slug generator. Alright, so mines and tutorials down here, see here, so wherever your settings.py is, That's what you would name this, whatever directory that's in. Then utils, then import your unique slug generator. So now we're going to come down here. We're going to create a function. And we're going to call this function define slug save. All right, and then we're going to pass in sender instance args and keyword args. I always feel like I'm a pirate when I say that. Anyhow, we're going to check if not instance.slug. So we're going to check if instance.slug. If it doesn't exist, we're going to do something. And what are we going to do? We're going to do instance.slug is equal to unique slug generator instance instance title and then instance.slug, and then we're going to come down to here. I'll move this back over. Then we're going to call pre-save slug save, and then sender is going to be tutorial, just like that. All right. That all looks good. All right. So let's go ahead and try this out. First off, make sure you run Python manage.py, make migrations. Oh, I probably didn't have to. What did I screw up? Alright, so I got an error somewhere. That's one way to check if you got errors. Slug save, sender tutorial. I'm gonna pause this real quick. See, I'm rushing through this and I forgot something important. We're gonna do presave.connect, throw that there, and let's now go run make migrations. Hopefully, I have no other errors because it is late. Like I said, no changes detected. No one run Python manage.py migrate just to be safe. No migrations. So there you go, guys. You got it all set up. You're ready to go. Now, if you want to hang around for a little bonus tutorial, I'll show you how to use the shell to test this out. And then after that, I'll show you how to actually write a unit test to test this out like a professional. So if you guys want to stick around, go for it. If not, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. All right, guys. Let's go. Let's run Python manage.py shell. So this is going to bring up the shell, and then we're going to go ahead and test this all out and see how it works for us. So first things first, we want to run our import our models. So from main.models import tutorial. Yours may be different, but that's how I get to mine because it's in the main app models and then import tutorial. That was the name of my model. Then we're going to say new underscore tut is equal to tutorial, and then we're going to say title is equal to new title. Actually, let's make this uppercase to make sure Slugify is working. And then we're going to say new underscore tut dot save. Save. And we got no errors, so that means everything seems to be working so far. So if we let's do tut is equal to tutorial dot objects dot get, and then we're going to get primary key is equal to 1, and we'll call tut, and we got tutorial and new title. So all right, we got an object. Now if I go to tut dot slug, we get new title. Ooh, that looks like it's in a slug format. So there we go. We succeeded there. Now what happens if we create another object with the same title? That's what we need to test here. So let's go ahead and do new underscore tut is equal to tutorial to title is equal to new title, like that. And then we do new underscore tut dot save, and then we can do tut is equal to tutorial dot objects dot get, and then we can do primary key is equal to 2, and then we'll call tut. All right, we got an object, so tut.slug. Ah, new title hyphen title hyphen 2. Notice the primary keys match up and the titles change. So now we wouldn't have an error when we save our object, because if you remember correctly, we used unique on the model. If you try to save two things that are the same and using unique, you're going to get an error. But we avoided that by doing all this with our unique slug generator. So that is one way to test it, but that's probably not the professional way or the way you want to show your clients. Like, hey, yeah, your app works. Here, let me bust out this shell and I'm going to type all this crap. And you guys are going to sit here and watch me do it. No, that's probably not the professional way to do it, so let's go ahead and do it the correct way. Go ahead and open up your text editor and go to your main, or wherever you got your test.py. I'm going to use main. All right. Now we're going to create some unit tests here. And basically what we're going to do is first import our model. So we're going to say from .models import tutorial. All right. And then down here we're going to create our class. So we're going to say class tutorial, and then we're going to say test case, and then we're going to say test case. So we're creating a subclass of test case. All right, so now we're going to create a method. So we're going to say define setup, and what this method does is it go ahead and creates a setup for us, kind of like what we did in the shell. So what we're going to do is do tutorial dot objects dot create, and we're going to say title is equal to this is a title, like that. All right, and then we're going to do it one more time. Tutorial dot objects dot create, and we're going to say title is equal to this is a title. All right, so like I said, what we're doing is setting up. So basically what this is going to do is when we run the test, the unit test, get rid of that pep warning, it's going to go ahead and create two objects here, and both of them are going to have the same title. This is a title, this is a title. Make sure they're the same exact thing, because then our test would fail. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and run the test to check slug. So we're going to create a method that will go ahead and run this. So what we do is define, and this is important. You see test underscore? Your method must start with that, because when you run the test command in the terminal, if you do not start with test underscore, it won't run this test. All right. I get a lot of questions about that. Well, how did you run your test? Well, you didn't put test underscore in the beginning, so it's not going to run. So test underscore check slugs. So that's what we're going to call our method. And then we're going to say object underscore 1 is equal to tutorial dot objects dot get, and we're going to say primary key 1. All right, and then we're going to say object underscore 2 equal to tutorial dot objects dot get, primary key is equal to 2. Does this kind of look familiar? We kind of just did this in the shell, right? Yep, that's right. So self dot, now we're going to set, now basically we're getting the two objects up here, and then we want to go ahead and check that the slugs are what we expect them to be. So we're going to say assert, let's go, assert is equal. So we're going to say object 1 dot slug, comma, and then we're going to pass in what we expect it to be. So this is a title. So that's what the slug should look like on object 1. This is object 1. It should be, this is a title. Then we're going to do it one more time. Self dot assert equal object 2.slug, and we expect this one to have the primary key appended on the bottom, on the end of it. So this is title -2. That's how that should look. Alright, all good in the hood. And let's go run Python manage. Oh, that's not going to work because we're still in the shell. So Control D to get out of there. Now let's do Python manage.py test. Now if we get OK, we're OK, and we passed the test. So it ran one test, and it was OK, and now it's destroying the database. Boom, we passed the test. That's how you write a unit test, and that was pretty simple, right? I know when I started out it was very intimidating, but now that I'm comfortable with it, hey, it's a good way to show your clients that, hey, I tested it, it worked, bang. So, if you guys have any questions, let us know over at mastercode.online as I lose my voice. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Have a good day.